Well, we did have this conversation, and I think it really speaks to the actor's intelligence and how deeply they thought about these roles. I mean, and I think for Willem too, who's often thought of as saint-like, you know, Luke and I talked about how Willem's great flaw is that he pretends constantly, that he pretends that things are going to be okay, that he pretends that Jude is not as damaged as he is. You know, if you're having sex with someone, you can tell if they're not enjoying it, and you know, and Willem chooses to overlook it. And I think there's a lot of characters who suffer from a fundamental lack of imagination. You know, I mean, I think Jude's one of them, and you know, and so is Willem. And I was saying to Zach, the one character who always sees Jude exactly as he is Malcolm, and Jude hates him for it, that he resents him for it. That, you know, when you look at the interventions that Malcolm makes in Jude's home to try to prepare for a future that Jude won't want to face, you know, Jude feels too seen by him, exposed by him, and becomes wary of him. But, you know, all of us need someone in our lives who sees us that clearly.
One person wanted to know, who's asked a question, how are you two working on developing the relationship, which is so central to the book?
The short answer is I don't really know. As in, like, I think it just happens. And actually, it's interesting with this particular process because, as we said earlier, we're stepping into a shape that already exists. So we're not doing lots of discussing. We're not doing lots of, you know, we just jump in, switch our brains off, and jump in, really. But fundamentally, I've really enjoyed the fact that we haven't really talked about it. You know, like we're just sort of, by virtue of, I mean, I think like lines and runs generally like work as sort of like spells. Or, do you know what I mean? Like you just, the more you repeat, the more you do them, just stuff happens. And you're not really aware of what's going on and what's being rearranged in your brain and in your heart or whatever. And then you just end up with a relationship.
I was going to say, it's the mad thing about our job is that you have to, if you're going to do the work well and to its sort of biggest potential, you do have to allow yourself to be entirely open on that first day and allow yourself to fall in some kind of love or whatever, you know. You sort of, on one level, we're replicating Jude and Willem and trying and harnessing your incredible book. But on the other hand, we're just trying very quickly, from the moment we meet on that first day and have coffee, because we didn't know each other before, to be as open as possible with each other. And I just, hope that he likes me and that we can take this within a controlled environment, because this is a workspace, but we take it to its, you know, most intense and intimate space, both on stage and off, you know.
One of the things I've learned from this process so far is how little we might need to discuss things, actually, and actually how, if you're sort of half in, half out as an actor, it's a bit of a difficult dance, but actually if you've got someone like Ivo at the helm, and you know that if he tells you to do something, you should probably do it because it's probably the best idea, then that means you can just do the best thing to do as an actor, I think, which is to switch your brain off and just jump in.
And it makes it more intimate because it's private. It's between each person. You know, right. Ivo, it's quite a specific process. Most theatre directors like to start with what's called table work, where you sit around a table, endless cups of coffee and cakes, and you just talk, and you build the sort of emotional, private, quiet, internal journey of these characters, and then you put it on its feet. So the colour comes before the infrastructure. He likes to sort of build the climbing frame, and then later on say, go and play. And right. And actually you don't really get to sort of do any of the discussion with him about any of the internal journey. So what you do discover is very private, and in line with what you said, it's a very quiet, intimate dance, whoever it is. It's very cool.